no note, you could have died.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
She almost forgot the name
It's
because
been
it has
a minute.
been so freaking long. And if you caught the reference from the opening, because you're not watching, you're listening, brownie points.
Okay.
It's the Harry Potter thing.
What?
Where have you been?
Oh, yeah.
You
That's
don't
right.
know this yet because it's not edited because it's active.
I literally was like, what are you
So
talking about?
it's going to open with that.
Okay, a few things just
because it's relevant.
A few things, just some
You could have died.
You could have been seen. Okay, can you stop interrupting me for 2 seconds? We're like 10 seconds into the podcast. Some housekeeping notes for a second. I have the sniffles, and I will use a tissue. I will sneeze a lot. I will cough and clear my throat. You just have to deal with it. So
Just go away from the microphone.
I'll do my best.
And per usual, we ate lunch, and my stomach will probably gurgle at some point because that's just how it works.
But hey,
I feasted.
if you're new here, my name's Veronica.
My name is Alex.
Alejandro.
That's not my name.
For short.
Sure, that's longer.
Just kidding. Just kidding. What's up? This is Feast or Famine. We've had this podcast for how long? How long have we had it?
4 years?
Yeah. And we tend to take hiatuses.
Well, when we first started,
in seasons, but
had no idea what we were doing.
This is still the I Don't Know What I'm Doing podcast for
still
you
have-
OG listeners.
We still have no idea what we're doing, but we kind of did the thing, didn't realize how much involved the podcast was, but we kept going, kept trying to go. We have gaps here and there, but was it a year or so ago, before we got rid of the studio, we were trucking.
Yeah.
And then before we sold the studio, we gave ourselves a huge window. There's a little bit of a gap when we redid this space to do the podcast here. And then we did that up until, September?
Yeah.
And then
which is when the last time we recorded, right?
That's the last time anything was seen on social media about this podcast.
Yeah. And I mean, we're going to get into like where we have been and things like that. But I mean, long story short, like we do this for fun. Like we just enjoy podcasting.
This is a huge revenue maker for us, so it really hurt us to not do it.
He's lying. It's not a huge revenue maker. If it was, that would be hecka dope, but it's not. And that's okay. We just enjoy it. It's fun. We take it seriously, but like not too seriously. So that's the hints of like, this is the I Don't Know What I'm Doing podcast. But
do we want to actually be for real about like the people that have never seen this before?
Yeah, tell them what Feast or Famine is.
So Feast or Famine was born out the Feast or Famine podcast. Feast or Famine was a very common phrase.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it. The idea for this specific podcast was born out of like the COVID time when there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. So you had to make a decision to just intentionally hustle and just get things done and make sure that you can still put food on the table. So when we started this, that was kind of the idea, was to just talk about life and business and how there are those ups and downs where there's periods of abundance and then there's periods, I don't know what that word is. And then there's periods of just, I don't want to say famine because you can't use the word in the definition, but like uncertainty, I guess is the word.
Drought.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And just, we like to just use our own experiences, bring people on, talk about basically the ups and the downs and how we navigate different situations and how to just set our best foot forward, not just in business, but in life as well.
Yeah. I mean, something about us, like if you know us personally, then you know that you know this about us. If you don't know us personally, then you're going to know this now. But we are all about transparency in our business, in our life, in our friendships, in our relationships. So whenever we're talking about things on Feast or Famine, we're pretty open. And yeah, we like to talk about business. We like to talk about the wedding industry. We like to talk about life and challenges and just like real shit.
And occasionally Veronica get real fired up about a real world situation that's happening, and we just talk about it, and it has nothing to do with anything we've ever talked about before.
Yeah. So you really,
You can go find that podcast somewhere.
You know what? Feast or famine is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Forced.
But anyway, so our first episode back for this season, round, however you want to call it, we're just going to catch you guys up on where we've been for the last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I don't even know.
Jeez, it's been 9 months.
9 months. Wow. I could have had a whole ass child.
We did not have a whole ass child.
I did not have a whole ass child, for the record, but I could have.
That would have been a totally valid.
We could have been like, hey,
there's a tiny child here, and it could be the new host.
No.
That didn't happen.
That did not happen, for the record.
Although Stephanie did. She's another photographer in St. Louis area.
Yeah, that's amazing that she did that.
I don't know how she did it. She's got, her dogs are influencers, so she posts on social media constantly.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And, I mean, by extension, she's an influencer in that way, I guess. But she freaking had a whole ass pregnancy. In secret, and then just hard launched the baby.
Yeah, I think that's so dope.
It's so cool. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's so cool. Anyway, so let's go ahead and rewind it back to, I was actually going to do that too, to the first kind of thing that happened last September. So September of 2024.
I'll preface this by saying, we keep saying what happened.
I mean, a lot happened,
and we don't just take, there's always reasons behind why we just like pause.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about like the importance of why we did this.
This is how you know a lot happened. I have notes. Fam.
Yeah, we had to go through and take notes.
And I don't do notes.
There were some good. There was a lot of good.
There was, for sure.
But like
Did we write any of those down?
Yeah, all of that.
Okay.
But the first batch, which is what caused us to pause, is like, man, it's like we kept getting hit.
Yeah.
And it was like literally like, something's got to go. We need to focus on this.
Yeah. So the first thing is we were taking our very first international wedding, other than Mexico, that doesn't count, in Lake Como at the end of September, early October.
Yeah, it was like the last week of September.
We went with Wild and Rome.
They've been on here before.
And they have been on our podcast before. Amazing. They are iconic. If you don't follow them on Instagram, definitely go check them out. They're awesome and we adore them. But yeah, we shot a wedding with them in Lake Como. And Lake Como was like, not just for business or like weddings, but like in general, I feel like that was like our number one destination that we wanted to visit.
Yeah, just like outside of, I want to shoot a wedding here, it was like, I want to just go to Lake Como.
It was stunning.
And we did. And we had enough time that we were there for a full week. We had 2 days of the wedding. So the rest of the time was...
Like, when you see images and stuff of Lake Como, like, I part of me wants to be like, it is just as beautiful as what it looks like in the photos. But at the same time, like, it doesn't even do it justice.
It's more beautiful than what it does in the
photos. It's insane. It's insane.
It's like stepping into another world.
Yeah. So... with that, it was our first one. I was very anxious.
It was our first time in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
So, like, we've never been 7 hours from home, ever.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just an anxious girly. You guys know that. So, there were just a lot of things.
7 time zones. Yeah. I said 7 hours. We were definitely way more than 7 hours from home.
But yeah, it was just a lot leading up to that, a lot of preparation. I was putting a lot of pressure on it because I was like, this is our first European wedding. Like, we want to freaking nail it. So as you can imagine, I'm not going to keep going into that, but like, I was putting a lot of pressure on that. Probably unnecessarily, but it is what it is. And then we had our Lake Como trip and
everything was great.
Everything was fine.
It was exhausting because travel to Europe is just exhausting in general.
Yeah. The night that we get home, I'm relaxing on the couch, cuddling my doggos. Haven't seen them in forever. And I feel a lump on Ari that was not there, 7 days prior to when we left for Lake Como?
And it wasn't small. So, like...
And it wasn't soft.
Our dogs, they both are turned 10 this year. Between October and May, they're both 10. So older dogs get those fatty tissue lumps all the time, but our vets told us, they grow slow, they're squishy, they're fine. This was a golf ball size rock hard lump that appeared
On
and
her thigh.
7 days on her leg.
Yeah. And I immediately was like, this ain't right. Like, there's something wrong with this. So the next day after Como, I called the vet and we got her in right away. And our vet, she's amazing. We photographed her wedding. Like, oh my God. Shout out to Emily.
I think 2019. It was before COVID.
Yeah. Shout out to Emily Goida. If you're in the St. Louis area and you need a veterinarian, Emily Goida at MetroVet is literally the best, in my opinion. Amazing. But got her in, and basically she was like, this definitely looks concerning. Let's not even biopsy it. Let's just take the whole thing out. She's like, I don't want to go in there without just having to take it out. So it's going to have to go anyway.
She did say, which gave me a little bit of ease. It was still stressful, but in that, before we even did surgery, at the appointment, she said, these types of masses, even in the worst possible case scenario, they're never ones that really spread ever.
Yeah.
They just stay isolated in that one area. So like the worst case scenario is if we ignored it and it got big enough, they'd have to amputate.
Yeah.
Which that's what happened to Huck. My older brother's dog had one. He was a Mastiff, and it was on his front shoulder, and it was...
That was bone cancer, though.
Oh, that was bone... That's right.
That was bone cancer.
But that was another situation where they could have stopped it, but because of his size, it wasn't in a space they could fix. Anyway, I digress. Oop. So that kind of eased me a little bit. It was just in a rough spot, and she said, I just want to go in and try to remove all of it and get the best margins I possibly can.
And then we'll test it for
and
cancer.
Then we'll send it off and test it just to make sure.
Yeah. So she was like, let's go ahead and just do the surgery. I'm going to treat it as if it's worst case scenario. We're going to get good margins, and then we'll send it out and see what happens. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, this is kind of like a weird thing for me, and I still think back to it. So how do I say this? I knew, like, in my body that it was cancer. But because I just, like, already knew that, I wasn't anxious about it, because I also knew that she was going to be fine. And I just, like, felt it. I was like, I know that it's going to be something that's going to, like, send me into a spiral, but I also know that she's going to be okay. And I didn't know that because of anything other than my intuition.
And Emily kind of helped.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And so we went into it, and I was like, Alex, I'm like, I'm not a veterinarian, but, like, I'm pretty positive that this is some form of cancer. How bad, obviously I don't know until we get the biopsies, but I just also felt that it was going to be okay. So
Emily got her in within the week.
Yeah.
Like, we took her back a couple days later for the surgery.
Yeah. So moral of the story of that was it did come back as cancer.
It didn't come back. They took the mass. They got good margins.
Yeah. It was cancer,
tested,
though.
And it was cancer. The thing is, which was crazy, which is partially what, like, I don't know. It was cancer, but the rating or whatever she said, I'm going to butcher this.
Yeah, that's why I was going to let you do it, because I'm going to butcher it.
It's like a rating of 4, and they said even the benign tumors and masses
show some sort of level. Which is like a 2 at least.
Yeah. They rated this one a 1.
But it was
malignant.
It was malignant, though.
So it was a malignant 1, which means like we caught it
so early.
So early that it was.
I mean, and I know that we caught her early because a week prior, she literally didn't even have it.
Yeah.
Which is wild, because if we wouldn't have caught it, how big would it have gotten, though? Like, that's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. The other difficult part was, like, during her recovery.
Oh, the recovery honestly was like, oh my God.
It was down her. Sorry. It was down her thigh. Wow. I sound way different now.
Are you going to sing to me?
Blue
okay,
skies.
No.
I don't know why that song popped in my head. It was a giant incision, like, just down her thigh.
Yeah,
her flank.
I mean, it was a pretty extensive surgery.
I mean, it was probably a solid 7-inch long.
Yeah.
But because of where it was at, they couldn't bandage it or wrap it. Mm-hmm. So it was just stitched, and then we had one of those, like, lick sleeve things.
Yeah.
That we had to keep on her leg, and then she couldn't jump or climb on things.
Or run,
and she is a maniac.
Yeah. Like, that's impossible for her. So honestly, like, that, her recovery was daunting.
And a big part
for
of why
our household. And a big part of like why we had to let a lot of things go is because she really did need like almost round the clock like eyes on her, because we wanted to make sure that she healed properly. We're just trying to do our best. Like I slept on the couch a couple nights to make sure that she would just like stay on the couch with me, because sometimes in bed she'll jump up and down. So it was just like, it was crazy. Like that, it was a crazy few weeks for that.
Yeah.
But she's fine. She's back to her like normal crazy ass self. She is cancer free, thank God. But that was like a lot. And then
The following week, Ari is still recovering at this point.
yeah, that's if you can imagine, we're in the midst of this recovery with our very hyper wild ass dog that is not allowed to be hyper. And then we're shooting a wedding on a Saturday.
Local. We were back from Lake Como, obviously. But
We
This is a
were-
local wedding.
It was in the middle of the day. Had just finished portraits in Forest Park, and the wedding party and everybody is heading back. Couple is attending cocktail hour, and our second photographer and second videographer had already arrived
At the reception.
at the reception, started getting details, and we were on our way. We get to a 4-way interstop and intersection, and we get completely T-boned on the driver's side, totaling our car in the middle of a wedding day.
We had a green light, by the way.
Yeah, had a green light. Airbags deployed, car was totaled.
Crazy enough,
It was traumatic.
like somebody got on the thing and was like, "Are you okay?" Like
We'll dive into
Yeah.
everything on a separate podcast, but car accident that we literally could not drive our car after in the middle of a wedding day. Even like that's going to be a hard episode to record when we go to talk about this, because even thinking about it, like my chest is like a little tight. That was a very, very traumatic experience. And like I said, we'll do a separate podcast.
Luckily, we did not have any major injuries. We did have like some soreness and bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
But like we had to finish this wedding.
Yeah.
So luckily it wasn't worse.
Yeah. I mean,
We got through the rest of the wedding day.
It was bad. It was pretty bad. But yeah, we made it through the rest of the wedding day, and everything ended up fine. And we'll dive in to like the nitty gritty of that day and everything that we experienced on a separate podcast coming soon. And then, after that, we had some travels. We went to Dallas, which is...
That was way scheduled prior to that. So.
Yes, but this is a very happy thing. So we went to Dallas, and if you guys don't know, fun fact about us, I was going to say but we both are huge Dallas Maverick fans. I'm just like a little NBA girly now, which is kind of new.
And if you know anything about NBA last year.
Yeah. Dallas did not do good.
No, last year.
Oh, this year, yeah.
The year before, like
Yeah.
they went to the finals that year.
Oh, yeah, they did go to the finals.
So this was like a really good time to go see them.
Yeah, yeah.
And Luka was still there.
Yeah, Luka was still there. So first NBA game ever for me.
That's not true.
You've played some halftime shows at NBA, but anyway, first basketball game I've ever been to. It was literally amazing. I'm dying to go back. Like, the energy is unreal. Like, screw a baseball game, take me to a basketball game. It was amazing.
And I played baseball my whole life, and I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it was amazing. What a sleigh. And then in December, I had a little surgery.
That was November. That was right when we got back from Dallas. Yeah. It's like 2 days after we got back from Dallas.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't. Yeah, it was November. Yeah, I had a little surgery.
What?
I'm not going to dive into this, but I have been on like a weight loss journey for like a year and a half.
At this point, it's been over 2 years.
Yeah. I've lost like 75 pounds, I think. So I have I decided that, and it always like was kind of in the back of my mind. I was like, I would like for the girlies just to be a little bit more proportional to my body. So
Also back issues and stuff like that.
yeah, being a photographer, like it wasn't ideal. So I had a breast reduction in November. Everything went amazing and I feel good. Feel great. Feel confident. We're happy. Alex is happy.
I was happy before, but you know.
Yeah. So I had surgery. That was, kind of a long recovery. But everything went well. And then, go ahead.
No, I'm not reading anything.
We're right there.
Oh, then we had our anniversary.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that happens every year.
Yeah.
That's not a reason we stopped.
No.
We just wanted to add some happy things.
Yes, we were like, let's put some happy filler stuff in here.
Did we do something? Oh, we didn't because you had just had surgery.
I had just had surgery, so yeah, we literally didn't do anything.
I think we went to dinner.
We went to dinner, but it was like chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else did we do? What else happened? Oh, so in the midst of all that stuff before, like we're dealing with insurance. We are trying to wait for the police report, which the city of St. Louis is not very prompt about stuff. And our car was in the lot, the base of the lot where the impound cars and accident cars go in the city. So we had to go get stuff out of it, sign it over to insurance, talk to insurance, wait for the police report. Luckily, the driver admitted guilt.
I was going to say that is one thing that we didn't talk about, but it's okay.
We'll talk about that again. But so we got all that. Everything's good. But we also need to look for a replacement vehicle.
Because that was our work car.
We wanted to do it before the end of the year. So that was all happening. We ended up getting a new car, though.
And I'll just touch on that for a second. If you know us, you know that we're very specific about our vehicles in general because we're car people. But when it comes to a work vehicle, we're even like more particular. And I was like so in love with our car and I used it more as like a daily driver, probably more than I should have. But I just was like, I don't want anything else other than what we had. And it down to like the interior, I was being a hard ass about it.
Yep.
So I made it pretty difficult for Alex to find a replacement. So it took a while for Alex to find like the right replacement. And even so, it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I actually end up I like what we have now better than what we had before.
It's a better version.
Yeah.
Nicer. It's newer. It doesn't have the same interior, but
no, but that's okay. I like the
fine.
black.
But we also paid less than what we paid for the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. So it ended up like working out very well. Yeah. And then let's see.
We got the car. Oh, and then I went on some tour dates with Stickyard, the drum group that I used to be part of.
Yeah. It was like your first gig back in like how many years?
5 years. My last gig prior to this was New Year's Eve 2019 into 2020 at the Venetian Vegas.
Yeah.
We played the Venetian's New Year's Eve party. And then we've talked about this on the podcast before. And then we did a bunch of other things, which are really freaking awesome for their business. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So then when COVID happened, obviously events didn't happen, which means Stickyard didn't get booked. So while that happened, our business was also ramping up faster than it had ever been before. So then I had to take a step back, and I'd been asked about gigs, and I had to say no several times, and it got to the point where he just assumed that I probably wasn't available. Until this past year, I got wind from some of the other guys that there were a couple gigs coming up, and I'm like, we have a pretty open calendar in November, December. I should see if he needs somebody on the crew. So I jumped in, did the gigs. So that meant on top of all this other stuff, I was rehearsing all through November.
Yeah.
And then we had a gig in December at the beginning of the month.
Was that one in Dallas?
That
or
one was
in Nashville?
Nashville. And then we came back. We're home for a week and a half and then left for Dallas.
Yeah.
And did a bunch of shows there. Flew home.
But while you were in Dallas.
On Christmas Eve. No, I was in Nashville. You guys were in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. While you were in Nashville, I was in Kansas City. I went to
The Hallmark?
That Hallmark thing. It was like the first year that they did it in Kansas City. It was like this big Hallmark event. It was really cool. We went with like all the girls from the family, and it was really fun. I had a really good time.
I think you all did. Except you guys left early. Mom stayed, and she got to meet the girl from Mean Girls.
Yeah, that is true.
Gretchen.
Yeah, I can't believe that she got to meet her. Gretchen Wieners.
So we did that. Did Dallas. I got home. Was supposed to get home late on Christmas Eve. Our flight got delayed. I got home early on Christmas, so like midnight, 1 o'clock. Had to stay up wrapping.
Yeah.
Then we had Christmas.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah.
Where are we at? Holidays.
Here.
We have holidays.
Yeah. And then
we
I
went
got
to JT in December.
Yeah, that was like another good bucket list item that I was able to cross off for us.
On the floor.
Yeah. Floor seats, JT, literally take me back. Like, amazing.
Yep.
I'm speechless. I can't even talk about it. Like, it was just, you had to be there.
Yep. So
I cried.
We should probably get rolling on this because it's getting long.
Yeah.
Let's see. After that, our goal at that point, because things were starting to look better, so we're like, hey, new year, new
me. Just trying to beat you.
Let's get the podcast going. We gotta get the podcast going.
Yeah.
So January hits. We're like, all right, let's just get the year rolling, and then we'll make a plan to get going. During January, we booked our annual Florida trip, which that happens every year.
In February.
And then we also got reached out to from Jason McCutcheon from Wedding Film School. They do a clarity retreat in New York every year, and they asked us to come. And Veronica photographed it, and so we added that to our calendar in February.
Yeah.
Plus our Florida trip, plus one of my best friends that lives in Florida turned 40 this year, so his wife, sorry, Rob.
Sorry, Rob.
His wife planned like a surprise birthday party for him, and wanted me and another friend to be able to come down and surprise him. So me and Sean flew back down the following week after we were just there, and Sean was there like 2 weeks prior also, and surprised Rob at his party, which was great because we were both there. He had no idea we would even show back up.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of traveling.
Really fun that you were able to do that. And then we went to the Missouri Christian Convention for the gig.
I had a gig. We had weddings.
Podcast was not happening.
Podcast was it just
was not happening.
It's back to the whole like just things are just happening, and if anybody has ever experienced creating a podcast and keeping up on a podcast, you'll understand this. But anybody that asks me for advice, the biggest piece of advice I 100% of the time give, unless it's like a news-based podcast where it's timely, you need to batch record.
Yeah.
So that you have a backlog, and that is the only way we were able to do what we did a couple years ago through last year and have episodes out. We do 4, 5 at a time.
Yeah.
And we do that every couple weeks, and we have a long list of podcasts that we can push out without having to worry about when we're super busy. So when we stopped because of all the things that happened, it was hard to get back into it because
we just could not make the time to sit down and record for hours. Like it just was not.
We just got super busy. So then we got to a point this year where like, okay, it's coming up, and then we looked at the calendar like we're going back to Italy in a couple months.
Yeah.
So
we were like, let's just wait until after that. So we have gone back to Europe for a wedding of our own, and we just got back
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 weeks ago tomorrow.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
It's a different type of Italy.
Yeah, so we were in
Italy.
Florence and Tuscany. Yeah, it was beautiful. Such a good wedding. Yeah, it was good.
We got back. Veronica had a birthday, so we celebrated her birthday, and we made the game plan that this was happening. So we're back. We're back.
That's it. Welcome back.
What's up? Let's see. Oh, okay. So let's get to a feast or famine topic real quick before we wrap everything up. So it was ironic when we were planning out our recording that this would be our first episode, and I looked back, and our last episode that we put out was creative versus business owner, and it's basically all around the idea that you can't just be a creative in this industry or in any kind of creative field. you have to also be a business owner. And sometimes you got to be a business owner first. When that's, if you want to watch or listen to that podcast, I'll link that in the description so you can go back and kind of catch what we're saying. But basically what happened was, this is a creative outlet for us. I like being an educator, so this is my way of just kind of giving back and educating.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm educating them, we're just talking about life. But it's sort of a creative outlet. But when everything happened, we had to take a step back and say our personal health, our mental health, and our business are the priority.
Yeah.
We need to put food on the table. We need to pay our bills. There's no reason to just keep prying and pushing more stress on ourselves with everything that's happening to try to force something that would just ultimately hinder what we're doing with the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mentally was not in a place to get on camera and talk about things. Like, I would have not been, like, y'all wouldn't have wanted to hear anything that I had to say.
We kind of went MIA on social media altogether.
Yeah, truly.
Like, and it definitely hurt us a little bit.
And we're still kind of, like,
crawling.
Yeah, we're coming back from it.
We're clawing back because, like, when you go MIA on social media, I mean, social media is one of those things.
I mean, we get, like, 80%, no, I would say like 70% of our inquiries come from social media. So, yeah, not posting, not being active,
not showing your face.
It did hurt us a little bit. And so we're still like recovering from that and getting back into the groove of things, but it's so much better, and we're in such a better like mental space, and so we figured it was time to bring the podcast back.
Yep.
And I hope you guys are happy about that.
I'm jonesing for that 100th episode.
Yeah, where are we at?
Like 70, I want to say 78. Either
Okay.
72 or 78. Those two numbers are in my head, but I don't know which one
Yeah.
which one is right.
Okay.
But had we not stopped, we would have hit 100 already.
Yeah. But, you know, that's just like life, dude. Like, it's just shit happens, and you know, we chose to like reprioritize to honestly make sure that like we were just going to be okay. And because it was just a lot in a very small amount of time. It was just a lot.
Physically, mentally, all the things.
Yeah.
Everything that you put your energy and time into is going to be a reflection of you physically and you mentally. So like we've talked about this before, if you take care of yourself physically and mentally, your business is going to reap the benefits of that.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
It's and vice versa. So you have to be sure where your priorities lie. And since this wasn't an income maker, this wasn't something that was dire, we had to go back to grassroots and say, weddings, video shoots, photo shoots, that's our priority because that's where the money comes.
Yeah.
That's how we pay our bills. We need to make sure we're okay before we branch out and do any more.
Yeah, for sure. But so that's kind of like where we've been for the last 9 months.
It was sort of a famine.
It was, honestly, it kind of was.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Emotionally, mentally, very draining. But we are definitely on the up and up, and we're excited to be back. And we're excited to chat with you guys and get more episodes out for you guys. And we have some fun things coming, so.
Yep. I'm not used to, I keep forgetting which camera to look at.
I look at the middle one.
Or just you. I'm just looking just in that general direction.
Yeah.
Or you.
Okay.
Or down.
Yeah, I forgot how to end these, so like I don't know, any other thoughts?
No, there's a lot of podcasts coming. We're gonna get the guest thing going so that we can
have more guests
have
on.
more
I miss
guests.
having guests.
I wish we could. I wish we had space in here to do
It's tiny in here, y'all. Like it's little.
a live guest if like people are here. The dogs would go nuts if we did that though.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
So I'm working on a better system than we had before for virtual guests, which luckily the computer's right there, so it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
But we'll have guests. We have lots of ideas for guests. We have people that have kind of more or less been waiting to be a guest.
Yeah.
That we need to connect back with, that we're supposed to be on back before we took our hiatus.
So yeah, lots of good things coming your way, and we're excited to be back. Thank you guys for all the support that you've given us so far. Thank you for your continued support. And we're excited to just hang out with y'all more. And I think that that's really it for this one.
Yeah. If you have any good things to say, comments, whatever, go over to YouTube. If you're not on YouTube already, comment, ask questions. Follow us on Instagram, the Feast or Famine Podcast. Or wait, is it Feast or Famine Pod?
Yes.
Feast or Famine Pod on Instagram. Subscribe to YouTube if you don't already.
Yeah.
All the things. I'm so out of practice with this.
Yeah, that was weird. It's okay.
Anyway, if you want to listen, it's Apple, Spotify,
We're on all of them.
all the things.
Yeah, all the things.
Google went away, I think. Or was it Audible? There's been a lot of changes in the last year with podcast
I have no
hosts.
clue.
But we're there wherever there is for you, probably.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, that's it for today's pod. We're happy to be back, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.